Are you using your dog's name the best and smartest ways you can? In this video, I'm going to show you 4 things you need to think about when using your dog's name. Ian here with Simpawtico Dog Training, and before we get into using your dog's name, please make sure you're subscribed so you never miss any of our videos. Also, don't forget to check us out on all the big social networks so we can get better acquainted. And don't forget to check that YouTube description for notes, links, and resources about the stuff we talked about. Now, dogs don't understand the concept of names like we do. They're pretty good at memorizing sounds and chains of sounds and then assigning meanings to them. So they can learn to recognize words and phrases even though they don't process language. On average, a dog can learn about 165 words and even up to 300 in some cases. One of the primary aims of training is to teach our dogs the meanings of words. With practice, they learn to respond in a particular way to a particular sound. Among the most important sounds a dog needs to recognize is their name. So let's take a look at some strategies to help you get the most bang out of your dog's name. First, don't use your dog's name as part of a correction or a reprimand. Dogs are really responsive to classical conditioning. For this reason, you have to be careful what you're teaching. You always want your dog to have a good, favorable association with their name. Every time you say it, it should be accompanied by good emotions in that dog's brain. This is a conditioned emotional response, and I've mentioned that concept before on this channel. Yelling their name or hissing it with exasperation and frustration will only pair bad emotions with it. From there, reliability will start to erode. This is an important consideration when training come, for example. When I say my dog's name, I want them to look at me because they have good expectations about what I want. I don't want them to pretend they don't hear me because they're avoiding me. Many people, in fact, actually use their dog's name as the reprimand.
Leo!
This is bad news because over time you are teaching your dog to believe hearing their name means they're in trouble. These folks then often wonder why the dog won't come when called and generally won't listen. Using their name as part of a reprimand or as the reprimand is a huge contributing factor to not listening. Remember, you're correcting the behavior, not the dog as an individual. So address the behavior you don't like without having to make it personal. When you need to follow up or stop them from doing something or communicate that you're not happy, there's usually no need to even use your dog's name unless it's an emergency, and we'll get to that in a minute. Use interrupts like enough, or leave it, or drop it, or even just hey. These rarely need to be preceded by the name. Instructive reprimands and specific redirects don't need the name either. Your dog's name should only be used to 1. Precede requests, and 2. Get their attention in emergencies. We humans make a lot of mistakes, so say your dog's name nicely. Always, even when you're mad. And since we know they're making associations, use your dog's name to do fun things together or to reward them or when you're praising them. Pairing their name with lavish praise, using it as a precursor to good things and as a gateway to important requests will be creating a conditioned emotional response in these cases too, and wiring that brain to love hearing their name. As I said in the Positive Training Trifecta video, we are always classically conditioning our dogs, so don't waste the opportunity. The second thing to remember, don't nag them with it. When you want your dog's attention, stop repeating it ad nauseum.
Leo. No, Leo, please, Leo. Leo. Come on, Leo.
When you do this, you are denaturing their name so that it becomes meaningless background noise. You're teaching them to ignore it, which is going to give you trouble down the road. I always work with my students to help them get their dogs to respond to things the first time we ask for behaviors like sit, calm, down, leave it, etc. On this same token, your dog should look at you right away when you say their name. If you're having trouble getting your dog's attention, then the solution is not to just nag them and hope they remember you're there. The solution is to go back to the drawing board and do attention and focus exercises and have more bonding experiences. In the meantime, monotonous repetition of their name didn't work the first 100 times you tried it, so stop doing that and do something else. You can also use your dog's name as part of a coding system. We can code the requests we make and assign importance based on how we use our dog's name. Dogs learn their names, but most dogs have several familiar names or nicknames too. Dogs are also capable of responding to these. So we code requests and assign importance according to what name we use. If we use one of their nicknames, this tells your dog that the following request is a suggestion. We'd like for them to do it, but if they don't want to, it's not a big deal. If we use their formal name, we're telling them that the following request is not optional. We need them to do it immediately, or we will follow up. This will help you share some control with your dog and help them understand more when you need something done now. Sharing control has been proven time and again in not just animal psychology and behavior, but in parenting, schools, and the workplace. Do we really need to micromanage every single aspect of their lives? Listen, not every request you make to your dog has to be in order. They're not robots. Some things are just suggestions. We do this all the time with the humans in our lives.
Hey honey, come sit down and watch the show with us.
I really want to finish this thing in the garage first.
Can you imagine how silly it would be if we followed up on everything like it was life or death?
I really want to finish this thing in the garage first.
I said,
Sit down.
Think also of a mother, maybe even your mom. Mothers do this kind of coding all the time depending on the name they use.
hey Kens, will you give me the dog treats please?
Here, Mommy.
Mackenzie, stop feeding the dog. Mackenzie, Megan, you stop hitting your sister.
Our dogs are family, and I'm betting you have a truckload of nicknames for your dogs too. So use them as part of your management. This will help you decide from moment to moment how much energy you can and should expend on management and save you some headache down the road. Of course, the most important factor to making this work is consistency and common sense. Don't make a big deal out of every single little daily thing around the house, and don't give a must-do command unless you are willing and able to follow up. And you may have a repertoire of commands that are only given when it's a must-do situation. These are things like emergency stops or distance downs or even a heel. Likewise, don't use these unless it's really important. Coding can also help you differentiate requests amongst more than one dog.
Dexter, come here. Yes, good boy. Darwin, come here. Yes, good boys. Oh, you guys are so good. Okay, let's go, guys. Come on.
And finally, train urgency with reward scaling. Sometimes we're in emergency situations, like if the dog is about to do something dangerous. In these instances, we will not be able to help ourselves. We will yell. We will shout their names. However, this needs to indicate that the situation is urgent, not that they are in trouble. We can teach that using reward scaling and practice. When I get louder, I want a dog to think, oh man, this must be important. I don't want a dog to think they're in trouble, which is going to make them hesitate and possibly make the wrong decision. So, for example, you could practice calling your dog's name for attention and scale up the reward the louder you get. Kibble for tone neutral, treats for calling loudly, a jackpot for shouting, and then a $10,000 jackpot for outright yelling. Your dog will think, hey, it's kind of spooky that you yelled at me, but the buffet was awesome, so I'm all right with it. Then, the next time you yell when they squirt out the front door, they'll pay way better attention. I talk about this concept in the reward scaling video, and I'll put a link to that one in the description. So let's recap, guys. Don't use your dog's name as a reprimand or even as part of one. Use your dog's name a lot during fun activities and during praise. Don't nag your dog with their name. Actually, just stop nagging altogether. Code requests with either their formal name or their nickname, depending on how important it is. Use dog's name to differentiate amongst several dogs. Teach your dog that volume equals urgency with a reward scaling exercise. Being cognizant of how these little things make a big difference is a tremendous tool in training your dog to be happy, healthy, and well-behaved. Think about how you use your dog's name and nicknames and start implementing these strategies in your daily life. So questions for you. What are some of the things you discovered about your training in this video, and what are some changes you're going to make? Also, what questions do you have about using your dog's name? Let me hear about it in the comments. Don't forget to thumbs up this video if you learned something, and as always, keep learning, keep practicing, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.